Welcome to week 3 of venture development. This is our video number 4 for the class. Lots to do in week 3, so let's get right ahead into it. You've got a quiz due this Sunday, so that's 50 points. Make sure you get that done. Again, on the quiz, there's no time limit, and you can complete it as many times as you want. However, the deadline Sunday at the end of the day is firm. The big assignment that you have is project number 1 for the course, which is the venture idea, timing, and trend analysis, which is a 1 to 2 page paper. So what is the point of this assignment or this project? If you were to go out and have an idea for a startup, or let's say you're working for a company and they're thinking about starting a new product line or going into a new service or opening a new location in a city, they're going to want you to articulate why this is a good idea. So the purpose of this paper is you're going to write about a 1.5 page paper that says, here's my idea for a new venture, and this is why I believe it's the proper time and place for this idea. So you're going to have to support that. I want you to go out and get some internet resources. You can use the library resources if you want, but you have to do more than say, I think this is a good idea because that's what I believe. I want you to argue, support your rationale for why this is a good idea and why it's appropriate now. So that's 100 points. If you work in a team, that's fine. Both of you need to upload the document. So absolutely make sure that both of you upload the document. You're limited to 2 people in the team, and in this document you have to declare who your team member is. So make sure you do that. What is the quality of work that I'm looking for? I'm essentially going to grade this on whether or not, I'm your employer. So when you're writing this, imagine you're getting paid to do this and your job is on the line, in the sense that you're expected to do, I don't want to say professional quality work in terms of academia, but work product that somebody would pay you for. So look at this from the perspective of, this is your job and your employer will be reviewing your work product and it will have impacts on your career. That's the kind of the mindset I like to take in all my classes. When you're turning stuff in, you're all seniors, you're getting close to graduation. And if you don't jump right into your own new venture right after graduation, you're probably going to work someplace. And so right now is the time to start developing those positive habits of just kind of pretending that the work product you're doing in your last year of college is work that you're doing for an employer. New Venture Challenge. Okay. The New Venture Challenge, a lot of networking opportunities. I encourage everybody to try the New Venture Challenge at least once. We've made a huge number of improvements over the summer. I actually am in charge of the New Venture Challenge this semester. So I encourage you to get involved. We have a networking, our kickoff event, and an ideation challenge, a competition, like a mini competition that'll just be fun. October 4, Grand Atrium, 5 to 7. Let's jump into just a review of some of the course materials for this week. Lots of good stuff in the 3 chapters that are assigned. Chapter 8, it's all about the value of networking. Now here's the problem. I have a daughter who graduated high school in 2020, so I know the impact of COVID and the lockdowns. I have a daughter who is 16 and still in high school right now. So my family experienced the lockdown just like you did. And I understand that, isolated us a lot, and you're online students. And so what we tend to do is we don't appreciate the value of networking. And we tend to think that we can just do everything ourselves or independently. The reality is none of us are successful alone. In order to be successful in career and in life, you are going to have to develop a network. And what that network will look like, that will depend on you and where you're going in your life. But, we've got 2 types of capital in the world. We've got human capital and social capital. My human capital, or your human capital, that's your skills, your talents, stuff that you have inwardly. But our social capital is what we really need to build up. And that is the source of our ideas, support for our ideas, new knowledge, and most importantly, resources. I don't have everything I need to start a new business. Most founders don't. And so, no matter how great my idea is, I'm going to need resources. I probably don't have those resources, and I'm going to need help from others. What networking does, it helps us build our social capital network, essentially deposits in our social capital bank. There's 3 dimensions of social capital: structural, relational, and cognitive. The structural is really just the components of the network, your contacts in the network, who they are. The relationship, it's really about trust, building relationships based and founded upon trust. The cognitive is the visions, the values, and beliefs that you share with others. And so as you're building your network, try to align with people that share your vision. Real quickly on the value of networks, developing a network, you can get information that might not be publicly available. If your idea or your venture is in a very specific or niche area, you can work with others who have acquired knowledge that's not out there. And they've acquired this knowledge by doing what you want to do. The other thing is, let's say most important, diverse skill sets. Why does diversity matter? Different perspectives, different skill sets, different ideas. And we want to gather as many of those diverse ideas, diverse perspectives before we invest our time and our money in a venture. Impression management, what is it? Let's first talk about why, what stops students from networking. Why are students today choosing not to network? First, it's poor impression management, and second, lack of confidence. We've all went through a lockdown. We ended up online, even myself, and we just don't feel as confident being out there in front of people we don't have a pre-existing relationship with. And that's something we all need to work on and become more confident, and we can all do that, but it takes intentionality. Impression management, it's paying attention to the way people perceive you and taking steps to be perceived in the way you want others to see you. That's not being fake. Okay, there's a difference. And it's not being overly conscious about, wow, I want to make sure everyone approves of me, everyone perceives me in a positive way. No. What message are you trying to convey to the world and to your network? If you're going to a networking event with the idea of acquiring people to support you in your new venture, are you confident? Okay, are you organized? Do you have a plan? What are you going to communicate to me that will build trust as between us? So think about what core values and vision that you would like to have others perceive when they're communicating with you or engaging with you. How do you gain trust without saying a word? This is pretty cool. In any engagement, don't hunch, even online, especially online. It is so hard to make a first impression in a virtual world that it's even more important that you sit up straight, you have good eye contact, and your body language is even more important. The handshake is coming back post-pandemic. So a good handshake, confidence, right? Trust. And then this little side note here about don't overextend and reach out too far because that's holding the person at a distance. So walk up to them, shake hands, fairly intimate. Probably the most significant thing I can tell you from real life practice, when you're talking to somebody, lean in very slightly. That communicates to them that you are interested in what they're saying, that you want to be there. That is huge. stand up straight. Don't be fake. Don't smile too much. Don't laugh too much. If you laugh at every word coming out of my mouth, I'm going to perceive that you're being fake, and then the trust is gone. So just be real. And then actually listen. A lot of us, when we're talking to somebody, we focus on, what am I going to say next? And that's natural, but we're not actually listening to the speaker. We're waiting for them to stop so that we can say what we want to. So be more conscientious and try to listen very attentively to whoever you're speaking with or engaging. Failure. We all fail. And so the key here, I'm not going to go through a lot of the detail in the chapter, but we all fail. Anyone that denies failure is lying. Every entrepreneur fails. Their business might succeed, but they overcame many failures before we actually see the success. I will tell you this, I would never listen to an entrepreneur, a coach, an advisor, anyone who will not admit failure. They're fake. They have an issue if they can't say, I did something wrong, and here's how you can learn from my mistakes. Why do startups fail? Okay. Well, a lot of people tell me it's money, or they presume it's money. Actually, a lot of people won't start a business because they say they don't have the adequate financial resources. But here's the data on why startups fail. The number one reason, people don't want what we're selling. They don't want our product. They don't want our service. And why does that happen? Why does that happen? We didn't do market research. This should never happen. It is so easy to go out there and do research to find out, are people going to buy my product? And if so, how many people are going to buy my product? But what happens so often in entrepreneurship is I have an idea and I don't test it. I don't do any research, no data at all. I just jump into the business and then I find out that, wow, I had an idea, but nobody's willing to pay for my idea. Ran out of cash, that's just paying the bills every month. You didn't have the right team. You got outcompeted. Your competition simply worked harder than you. Okay? Your idea was bad, poor product. Lack of a business model, almost 20%. Grit. There's an excellent book out there. It's called Grit by Angela Dunsworth, I believe is her last name. And she talks about what are the factors that will make you successful no matter what you do. And here they are: courage, conscientiousness, perseverance, resilience, and excellence. And we all can develop these over time. The big one is this: perseverance. It's just not quitting, having a goal, and we will have setbacks and we will have failures, but not quitting. We might change direction slightly, but we're still moving forward. Bootstrapping and crowdfunding. What is bootstrapping? It's funding your startup with your own resources. And so you have a full-time job, you take some of that money, some of your resources, you put it into your business, you grow your business slowly as like a side gig until such time as you can quit your day job and do your new venture, your startup full-time. And you're thinking, well, Professor G, that's cool, but is that even possible? Here's the thing. Look at this. Dell Computer, Facebook, Microsoft, eBay, MailChimp, Gymshark, GitHub, many, many, many other hugely successful companies were started with zero outside investment. So the investment's never the excuse to launch. You can start a venture yourself. Crowdfunding, what is it? All of you know what it is. You're young people. You've seen or heard or used GoFundMe. It's simply leveraging the power of the internet to connect people. And so instead of asking one investor for $50,000, I might have 1,000 investors who give me a small amount, and at the end of the day, I still get my $50,000. Here's a list of the best crowdfunding platforms. Overall is here. GoFundMe is personal. So just check these out. But what I really want to focus on is this. The success rate of crowdfunding is amazing. Almost 39%, let's just say 40% of all crowdfunding campaigns get fully funded. So if you have an idea for a startup, why wouldn't you look at crowdfunding, right? 4 out of 10 get funded. Crowdsourcing. Different from crowdfunding, crowdsourcing is I need help developing a website, a logo, or something, and I ask for help on a platform, and people essentially volunteer their services. I am always here to help you and to answer questions, so shoot me an email. Again, just remember you've got the quiz this week and the project number 1. Thank you.